Josh, Cowboy walks into a bar,
Yeah.
our bar, grabs a beer,
Yeah.
pulls his teeth out of his pocket, pops them in his mouth, and begins to tell us about cockfighting in Oklahoma. Own a bar. Own a bar, they said.
Own a bar, they said.
Boom, we'll cut there. We'll roll the intro.
The funny thing about that is that it is an actual real story. It's like you don't have to make shit up. It just happens.
It happened yesterday.
Yeah.
And I won't say rarely, but we don't get to sit at our own bar, belly up to the bar, near as much as I think we probably thought we would building our own bar.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, right? Like it's one of those where you're working all day and you're working at a bar. It's like, sometimes you just want to go home and not be at work. And I think that's okay to say.
Yeah.
It took me a little while to get to that place where it's okay to say, but it's okay to want to take a break, but we don't get to sit at our bar very often. And I watch, you go down this YouTube hole and you can get lost for days and days and days. And I started watching some of the very beginning Dude Perfect videos where they talk about stereotypes. There's a golf stereotype, there's a beach stereotype. Hilarious. Aggies. So they know their stuff.
They're funny.
They're hilarious. Started with a trick shot in the backyard of their house in Aggie Land when they were all going to college. But I started thinking, what are the stereotypes that we've seen at our very own bar? And I never had on my bingo card that a cowboy who pulls his teeth out, pops them back in, grabs a beer, starts talking to us like we've been best friends forever about cockfighting in Oklahoma.
The funny part for me is I like rewind that and I'm like, why didn't you have your teeth in already?
What were you doing in the parking lot that you didn't have your teeth in?
Why are your teeth in your pocket, bro?
And I questioned that same thing when I saw him reach into his pocket, and I was like,
because you never know what
what are you reaching for? This is middle of Texas, especially when you're a cowboy. And he was a cowboy. He wasn't a poser like wearing this hat. Like
he had to draw.
He had a mustache.
He's talking like the cowboy in Texas.
And it ends up one of my favorite conversations I've ever had at the bar. But it started making me think, because I think we've seen all types.
Oh yeah.
I think there is a type. There's some new types I didn't know existed. There's, Josh, some types I really don't care for.
There's a few.
I'd punch in the dick just as soon as talk to them anymore. What
if it's a chick?
Punch her in the cooch, man.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know. And I don't hit girls. Don't start chasing me out in internet land. But I started thinking, because everybody has their regular, right? There was a TV show in the 80s, Cheers, that was built on regulars coming to the bar. And so when I was writing some of these notes down about stereotypes that you and I have both seen and interested to get your take, everybody's got a norm. There is a regular that all of the bartenders know, that all of the bartenders like. That's not the case with every regular.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. But we have, so one of the stereotypes that I've seen at our bar.
We can't say names, right?
No names.
Okay.
No names.
Right. Just clarifying that.
No names. And yes, we want to be safe and still own a bar, a profitable one in the future, I hope.
Yeah.
But there is the lone wolf that comes in.
Okay.
Right. And it's somebody who has kind of his seat. He'll usually get there early before the bar is already packed. The lone wolf type comes in. The bartender also know exactly what he's going to drink.
Yep.
He never delineates from his drink, right? In this particular case, it's a Canadian whiskey and a Diet Coke. Sometimes it's a double, sometimes it's a single. That's the only two options he ever drinks. But there's the lone wolf. Everybody likes him, and he doesn't need conversation to be happy at the bar.
Yeah.
Right? You think about the lone wolf, like they're just out there in the desert roaming around, nobody else to talk to. Yeah. Don't mind. They're just cool being a lone wolf. I've yet to meet an actual lone wolf in person, but this guy sits at the bar, has his drink. Bartenders know. Now he will carry a conversation.
Oh yeah.
But you also know when to cut it off, right? Like, hey, he doesn't want to chit chat. He wants to be on his phone. Our lone wolf just ends up working at the bar, usually for about an hour or two.
Yeah. Mostly doing email and scheduling and stuff like that.
Doesn't usually eat dinner. Now at Cheers, I think their restaurant was on the second floor, but the bar was in the basement or whatever in Boston. And so Norm comes in. Then I started thinking about the intellectual, the know-it-all at the bar.
Yeah.
Right? For Cheers, it was Cliff Clavin. For us, there is a type. And if you haven't seen the Commonwealth, our bar, it's pretty grandiose. It's definitely not a dive bar.
No.
You're not going to see a lot of neon signs. There are a lot of bright lights, a lot of light fixtures. There's a Congress-style library bar. But the know-it-all that I see at the bar comes from, because we have an incredible selection, over 500 labels of different whiskeys and bourbons. Come in and you just see him, do these ones. And he's looking, sir, can I get you anything? Pull anything down for you? Would you like to see a list? No, I'm just looking, right? Kind of this a little bit pretentious, like he knows more than the bartender would, right? And it's like Parks and Rec, one of my favorite shows. Ron Swanson goes into Home Depot. He's a carpenter by trade, like woodworks. And somebody asks him, hey, sir, can I help you? And he immediately says, no, I know more than you.
Oh.
I have found that I don't like that feeling from guests that walk in the bar.
Yeah.
It's not because I think I know everything, but I know for a fact that he or she doesn't.
Yeah.
And that sits up. What kind of person have you seen? We have been open 8 months now, going into our 8th month in February. Been open 8 months. There's more than just, the normal Cheers crew, but talk about maybe a bar type that you've seen that you actually like.
I'm going to tell you, this is going to be a hot sports opinion because there's a few caveats here. I call this bar type the all-dayer.
All-dayer.
The all-dayer, because not just once, not twice, many times, and it's not the same person.
Nope.
It's the same type of people generally. It's kind of the middle-aged white woman who comes there early for like maybe a little meeting with like her social club or with whatever, committee she's on. The PTA, whatever. And they'll come for an early lunch and they'll order like, oh, I'll just have a glass of Prosecco with my lunch. And then lunch gets over and they've had 2 or 3 glasses of Prosecco. And then it's like, well, I just texted my friend. Somebody wasn't able to make it. They're going to join me. You're like, oh, okay. So then they may or may not move tables from the bar to the outside, or from the outside to the inside to the bar table to the bar. But what ends up happening is they end up staying from early lunch until dinner.
Yep.
And then they're like, well, I just don't want to leave. I just love it here. And I'm like, we love it too.
Yes.
Now we're feeding you water.
That's
in
right.
Between. We're making sure you're
eating.
Staying in good shape. But the fact that somebody would want to come to our place, be an all-dayer, have lunch, have some drinks, meet with friends, hang out, maybe play pickleball, maybe not. Maybe go to the East Yard and hang out outside. Maybe not. Maybe go up to the Speakeasy for a little bit. Maybe not. But it's like there's so much for them to do. And they connect so well with their friends and with other people that are there that they stay all damn day at our place. And I freaking love it.
And I think the fun thing about the all-dayer is they don't set out to stay all day.
Oh, absolutely not.
Like they're having lunch with their girlfriend, or their friends coming in, or husband. And like you said, like, okay, I'm going to get up as if I'm about to leave, but somebody walks in, surprised or not, somebody walks in that they may know. And you want to sit down and have a drink? I mean, I just had lunch and a drink, but of course I do.
But I'll sit with you. I don't want you to be alone.
Yes. And then once you get to it's probably this way at a lot of bars. Once you get to that 4 p.m., like people are starting to get off work. So the bar starts to actually get a little bit busier. And of course, we live in a small town. So you're going to see someone that that while you never set out to be an all-dayer, in most cases, you also end up being an all-dayer more than once.
Yeah.
And the particular person I know you're talking about, dear friend of ours too.
One of the all-dayers.
One of the many, an all-dayer. But I also started thinking is the question that makes this interesting. The reason this question is interesting to me is, what bar type are you? Because we went through a lot of research and development when we're kind of building and putting together our concept. And you and I Sometimes our wives tagged along. A lot of times they didn't. But we went to a lot of different bars.
Yeah.
So what kind of bar type do you walk in as, right? Sit up? Are you a belly at the bar? Do you sit at a little high boy table or something? Do you want to sit in the dining room? What kind of bar type are you?
So it's situational because like if it's just you and I, we're sitting at the bar. I don't want to sit at a bar top. I don't want to sit at a table. I want to sit at the bar because I want to pay attention to what's the bartender doing?
Right.
How are, what drinks are they making? How are they set up in the back? Like, are there things that they do that we could do that could improve our product or our process in some way? And I enjoy the conversation with bartenders. I love bartender types. That's a whole nother podcast topic is bartender types.
Bartender types. And we've got them all.
Yeah. But I generally will want to sit at the bar. But if you've got like more than 2 people, it's hard to really sit at the bar unless you go around the corner. And I've done that a couple of times with a 3-top or a 4-top. We just sit at the bar around the corner, and then you're kind of normally you're at like a regular table. But if it's 4 or more, generally I'll sit at a bar top, like a high top.
Yeah.
And then if I absolutely have to, I'll sit at a low top, like a regular table. But I don't enjoy, like, if I'm going to a restaurant, then I'll sit at a restaurant table. But if I'm going to a bar,
you want to sit at the bar. Yeah. I think there's a fun thing. And I think it was probably different before we set out on this venture to open our own bar. Like I was in the golf business for a long time. So if we went to ever play golf, it was that I'm looking at it with kind of a critical eye. Sure. Like, how does this stack up compared to the golf courses I worked at? And I think it's very similar. You want inspiration when you're going there as a potential bar owner. When you're developing your concept, you want to see how things are laid out, like where'd they put the wells, where they put the refrigeration, what kind of things do they have on tap, what kind of bottles are down for plain viewing. I think that's the all-dayer is one of our favorite people. Now, there's an all-dayer that is also not, that doesn't take water, doesn't eat, and then you're like, okay, like, I know you came in here to get a certain way, not to be with different people. So I also, I have a list of bar types that I've seen.
Prepared
I did.
For this
I actually
segment.
prepared a little bit because it just immediately, and it goes to people that I know and I think that are memorable. We live small town in Texas where football is king.
Yep.
It always will be. And we're football fans ourselves.
Sure.
But when you start having kids and those kids start to grow up, and especially once they get into high school football in Texas is different than anywhere else in the world.
100%.
You prove me wrong. I dare you. But we have the pre-gamer and they're never alone. It's usually in a group of at least 4.
Yeah.
Right. You can spot them as soon as they walk through the door because high school football here starts at 7 or 7:30. They're in there at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
They've got their jersey on.
Or
their color or their team shirt, whatever.
The logo or their kid's name on the back of their t-shirt. If it's the mom, it's giant earrings.
Oh, yeah. Football earrings.
All the things.
Yeah.
Some sort of glitter or sparkle bedazzled all over themselves. Yes. Dads who, wearing the ball cap and the short breeches and ready to just go to town on the referees.
Yep.
Yelling at them.
Of course.
But you have this pre-gamer, and it's an interesting group because rarely will they sit at the bar.
Yeah.
Now, the way our bar's laid out, we've got about 20 bar stools, and then in that same bar, we've got 4 high top tables and a couple of soft seating lounge areas. But those guys, the pre-gamers, will sit at usually one of the soft seating. It can fit about 6, or sit at a bar top.
Yeah.
And the fun thing about the pre-gamers is a lot of times, if it's a dude, they won't start with cocktails or mixed beverages, right? They'll go straight to beer.
Give me a beer.
Give me a beer, maybe 2, and then they're out just as quick as they came in.
Yep.
I've also found that the pre-gamer type can grow because if they didn't communicate, or maybe they did, hey, Josh, me and the fam are going before the football game.
Grab a drink at Commonwealth, meet us up
might
there,
as well. And if the weather's nice.
Yeah, no worries. If you can, that's great. And then the group turns into a group of 20 that are all standing around a high top bar table.
Yep. And then you're like, hey guys, I love how much fun we're having here, but don't be that group.
Yeah.
Don't be that group that makes me remove the whole group because you're dropping glasses and breaking shit and all of that kind of thing.
Because there is that bar type as well.
Oh,
the overserved. And a lot of times it's not because we have overserved them.
They've come in that way.
They have pre-gamed and they can hold it together well enough to get a drink or two. But then by the time you realize what's going on, you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like, you are really obnoxious.
Yep.
I really don't like you right now. And you need to go. But now I need to make sure that you get out of here safe.
Bingo. And for me, I look back, like we've gone to our share of concerts or comedy shows or other football games, Aggie Land. Never have we ever not pre-gamed.
Yeah.
I don't remember a time that we've gone to a concert or a football game, even high school football game that my own kids played in.
Yeah.
That we haven't had our own pregame. What is it about the psyche that's like, hey, let's go grab a drink real quick before we have drinks at this other place? And maybe high school football, it makes sense because there's no beer served in the stadiums, but not that way with Aggie Land.
No.
You know, and I think for me, that's one of the bar types that I know I am.
Yeah.
If there's something to do and have the night off, I want to pregame it. We'll pregame dinner at a different bar.
Yeah.
Right. We know we have dinner reservations somewhere else.
That's like you're creating like an experience. It's not just, hey, we're going to go have dinner and leave. You're like, hey, let's pregame a little bit. Let's have dinner. And then maybe even go somewhere else for a nightcap or for a dessert or, you know,
post gamer.
Yeah.
Because the post gamer.
Different places are not like us and have great appetizers, entrees, and desserts.
Right.
And the best drinks in all of Texas. So you can get literally everything you need and want with us. And you can switch locations like the all dayer.
It's like you're at 4 different bars.
Yeah. Yeah. You are at you're at a resort when you come to Commonwealth.
Which is the experience we wanted for everybody. Yeah. Serving responsibly, of course, especially if the TABC is watching. I think with one of those, identifying myself as a pre-gamer, I'm not a lone wolf. I was trying to think back about all the experiences that I by myself went to a bar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that. I guess I'm a little bit more of a social drinker, or I may get there early if I listen.
Yeah, but you're not going to go early and sit by yourself and wait for your group to show up.
Depends on the group. Do I enjoy that group?
Okay.
Because we've both been part of those groups.
That's true.
Like,
honey, we're doing dinner with the so-and-sos. You're like, oh, damn. I'm definitely pre-gaming this one.
Whether it's your own house or not, you're going to go to your own home bar.
Might be a heavy pre-game depending on the couple that we got hooked up with.
But you're not a lone wolf, right? You're kind of a social drinker.
You know what's interesting is that this kind of dovetails a little bit into when we went to the Barn Restaurant Expo in Vegas 2 years ago.
Yep.
It was a quick trip. We were just kind of getting rolling. We found out about it. We were like a couple of days before, bought tickets, got plane tickets, like went, stayed one night there, flew back.
It was also Vegas. So hello. Yeah.
Yes. But I love Vegas. Like I genuinely love Vegas. There's so many reasons to love it. But because y'all flew out early, your flights were early. My flight was a little later. And so we had to check out. That's a whole nother story, but based off where we stayed and what transpired. But
we won't ever stay there again.
No, I'm getting to the fact that when y'all left and I was there, I had like 6 hours by myself.
Yeah.
And I realized I don't really like to do Vegas by myself.
Yeah.
It's not the same experience. And I think that translates to the bar because I'm like, hey, I'm going to have 6 hours in Vegas. This is badass. I'm going to party my ass off. I love it. And about an hour in, I was like, man, this would really be more fun if I had a buddy with me or had my wife with me or like anybody really that I could enjoy this with or experience this with. And the same translates to me for a bar. I can sit at a bar by myself if I need to, or if I'm waiting, or if I'm killing time or whatever, but it's not something I do on a regular basis because I enjoy the solidarity or the solitude of being the lone wolf.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting. We do another pod at the restaurant and we've talked about this before. Like I have reactions to Uber drivers. Mm-hmm. Like I have an expectation when I get in an Uber, because I used to travel for work a lot. When I get in an Uber from the airport, from wherever, go back to the hotel from the property that I was managing, my expectation is I don't want to talk to you.
You're the guy who clicks the no conversation.
Button and that button didn't exist when Uber was first out.
They created it for you.
They did. Put my AirPods in as if to give them a signal. Hey, I don't want to talk.
And then they do talk and you act all inconvenienced. Like, oh,
I'm like, hold on a second. Hold on a
say?
second. Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me talk to the Uber guy.
No, my name's Jared. Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm just watching Netflix or something. Yeah.
And then they ask another question. You're like even more put out. Like, hey,
seriously.
What are you saying? Yeah. Whatever. I don't care.
That's going to dovetail into, like you mentioned, bartender types. Maybe we'll do that on the next pod.
Yeah.
Because that's an art. That's not a science. You have to identify. You have to identify what kind of person is sitting in front of you as a bartender.
Yeah.
Our lone wolf that we're speaking of, we say hi, but wait for him to instigate if he wants any other conversation.
Yeah. If the phone gets put down and he
That's
kind of
right.
turns in the chair, you're like, okay,
That's right.
yeah, I'll be here a little while.
No, but if
we'll
he's
hang out.
if he's surfing and doom scrolling and whatever, or especially if you know he's taking a call, got another one for you.
Okay.
The blue collar after worker.
Okay.
Okay. So
I'm picturing a couple of different people right
yep,
now.
There are, and there's a
continue.
lot of them. And whether it's a foreman, it's a bulldozer driver, it's a dump truck driver, it's a home builder, you get the blue collar worker. They come in easily identifiable. They've got tan lines from their sunglasses.
100%.
Right? Face just baked from the Texas sun outside. A lot of times there's a name on the shirt.
Yep.
There's a patch with their name on it.
They've got steel-toed boots on.
Steel-toed boots.
No matter what the industry is, steel-toed boots.
And they come, and the blue collar after worker, they come up to the bar, and it's usually about 3 beers because they know they're not staying for dinner, got to get home, got to do all those things. But they'll make it a point to divert after work where their way home gets them to the bar, right? This is working class people. These are my people.
For 100%.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
These are just my people. A little rough around the edges sometimes.
That's the best part.
That's my favorite part. They'll always be honest with how they feel.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't ask, whether it's politics or sports. And that usually falls into one of those two buckets for the blue collar worker. Got another one for you. The pretentious douchebag, which we have been called
apparently
unfairly on another pod.
That was us a couple of weeks ago on a Bar Wars
this
podcast.
Does exist. The guy or girl who comes in like their shit smells better than everybody else's. Like we are there, and we are there to serve people. Yes, that's what we do at our bar. But this is probably the most frustrating bar type that comes to the bar. The pretentious douchebag thinks that it is your life's goal in service to just wait on them.
Yeah.
Nobody else in the restaurant exists.
Yeah.
Usually overdressed in a lot of cases because they want to feel important. They want to look important. They want everybody to know how important that they might be. They are also the people who have no problem snapping at people. Yeah. And I don't do that.
Or they do the hey.
Don't hey me. Don't snap at me. There's a way to
get worked up.
There's a way to get your bartender's attention.
Snap at him or do the hey.
Yeah. Excuse me, bartender. If you don't know their name, there's a lot of different ways. Even if you're sitting at a bar top table, you can get up and go to the bar, right? If things are taking a minute. But the pretentious douchebag, it's almost like they unveil themselves very, very early on. There's just a certain look that they have about them. And we're not going to pigeonhole them into a certain job that they might have.
Right.
But you'll know early on, like, oh, damn, that guy's a douchebag. He's going to be one of those people. And it's interesting to me because those are people, I've never been in a fight in my whole life. It's very well documented. But those are the people that I would be happy getting in my first fight with. Yeah. Not at my bar, at somebody else's bar.
Well, usually they're all bark and no bite. They're just all like, hey, the world revolves around me. I'm the most important person in the room. Everybody should know that. Duh.
Yep.
But really, my wife would tell you, since she's a counselor, that they're really just deeply insecure.
Ooh. And that's where it is. And I think that's, at our age, I think we have insecurities, of course. But I think at our age, you kind of learn the weak spots of those you hunt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so you know how to poke them just right.
Just enough.
Real riled up.
And ultimately let them know that, hey, man, and we say this about our place. Don't try to be for everybody. It's one of the biggest words of advice that I can give. We're open to anyone, but we're not for everybody. We recognize that.
Yep.
We do have a certain sense of humor. Some may say that don't know us right off the bat. They come into our bar and it's kind of bougie, right? It's kind of bougie.
That's the point.
Exactly. Where our bar might look a little pretentious, but the people running it and the people that serve and the 98% of people that come there are not, right? Got another one for you.
Okay.
So we have a large whiskey selection, large bourbon selection, plenty of other spirits, but that's kind of the paramount focus for us. I've noticed the people that come in, they're the price checker type, but still end up going with the cheap stuff. Like
Really?
it's for something like, hey, how much is that Blanton's Gold on the top shelf up there? Or hey, that Weller Millennium you've got in the case. But they'll go through the price of 10 different bourbons just to slide back down into Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, Buffalo Trace at its best, Jack or Jim at its worst. And it's like, you knew coming in here, you were never going to pay whatever it was going to cost. Because if you're asking for Blantons or that kind of stuff, their allocations, they're a little harder for everybody to get. We pride ourselves on having a lot of those kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
But and it's usually a dude. I mean, 100 times out of 100, it's always been a dude. The price checker.
100 times out of 100.
100 out of 100. I'm trying to think of an experience that a woman has been this. They might do it for
because most of the time the women are coming in and they want the margarita.
Yep.
Or they want a Cosmo.
They want a Tito's.
They want a ranch water.
Yep.
They're not looking at the expensive high-end allocated bourbons.
Right. They're
generally.
Generally.
It's very sexist of me to say, but listen, shoe fits.
Yeah, boy, that's right. I mean, there are definitely difference in bar types by gender though, too.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what's funny is, so you have the price checker, still goes with the cheap stuff.
Yeah.
You have the wannabe whiskey aficionado.
Yeah.
Like they'll pull something good and then they'll smell it as you do with a good neat pour. You probably don't when you're going to mix it with Coke. Like we are.
Yeah.
We know who we are.
Smell your
we
Coke
enjoy
Zero.
The finer things too, but listen, Pendleton and Coke Zero.
Yeah.
There's not a better day drinker.
Listen, Pendleton.
Yep.
If you're watching this, you're welcome.
Holler at your boys.
Yeah. Negotiations start now.
Today. But the whiskey the wannabe.
Yeah.
Like there are some people that know their shit.
Sure.
There's others that put it to their nose and like, oh, this smells like mahogany and leather-bound books. Like, okay, you've watched Anchorman one too many times.
Now, I do think it's funny when people make fun of that or like will say things that are fun, but that's not the guy you're talking about. The
Definitely
guy you're
not the guy
talking
I'm
about
talking
means it and wants people to think that he is so well versed in all of the things and all of the hints and the notes and and you're like, bro, listen, you're not fooling anybody.
No,
just drink it. If you like it, keep drinking it. If you don't, order something else. But you don't got to impress anybody.
No, you don't. And what is that about them? And it's typically that's a dude.
Yeah.
Always a dude. What is it about the male psyche that has this thing where you feel like you have to peacock your feathers out and be a certain?
Yeah.
Man, I struggled with that early on, especially. But like, man, drink what you like, how you like it.
But it's a peer pressure thing. Like, because of the price point, like it would be an interesting social experiment if you took shit whiskey and, no offense, Jack Daniels or Jim Beam, but if you took it and put it into like a Weller Millennium bottle, and then you had like a blind tasting, just because of the presentation and the price tag that was on it, if people would be like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever had in my whole life. This is amazing.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to tell you
the number of people that could actually pick out the fact that it wasn't
one out of 10, maybe
is a very small number. But as dudes, we have this weird peer pressure that it's like, oh, you're supposed to really appreciate this, whatever. And it's like, well, maybe I don't like it. Maybe I think it sucks.
I'll tell you what, I will say them by name, Kyle and BJ. They're our bourbon council up at Commonwealth. And it was funny because we'll have a little tasting, a little something. They do know. They also work through like the tasting profile. They'll put it to their nose. They only drink it neat. And what was funny is one time I sent them some whiskey in a Glencairn, right? Little bougie glass. Sent them some whiskey. And I said, $100 if you can tell me what it is. Not thinking because they think from me or you, like, okay, it must be good. It's something new.
Yeah, the owner
they just pulled in. The owner's sending us something good.
Must be a new allocation they just got their hands on.
And so I'm standing up there. We're in the speakeasy, and they're smelling it, and they do the swirl to see what kind of legs it has on it. Take it to the nose again. Take it to the nose again. Take a little sip. Swish it around. Give it a swaller. Take another sip. And long story shorter, Darren almost got it. He's like, it smells Canadian. I sent them Crown Royal. Okay. I sent them Crown because these guys are the bourbon guys.
Smells Canadian.
He did say it, and they didn't get it.
Freaking nailed it.
They knew we loved Caribou, and so that was their official guess.
Yeah.
I was impressed that Canadian whiskey apparently has a smell.
Yeah.
But
coming from a guy who drinks a shit ton of it, of course he knew it was Canadian.
To Canada.
Yeah.
Our friends in the north, soon to be our 51st state.
Oh, don't do that.
No, that's funny. That's funny. Can you imagine?
Listen, they can't stand on their own 2 feet right now. Don't bring home another project.
Listen, but if Caribou Crossing no longer was an allocation
now we're okay
into the United States, if they were our 51st state, it opens up Caribou to us.
If Caribou is not allocated anymore, then yes, make Canada the 51st state. You heard it here first.
That's right. So we will join along the coalition to get Canada
Caribou
to be
Crossing. Also, if you haven't tried it, do try it. It's not one of those pretentious bougie ones. It's just a really, really good whiskey. Makes
Fantastic.
a fantastic old fashioned.
Fantastic old fashioned. Or it's one of the few. I'm not very much of a neat drinker, but it's one of the very few that I would absolutely drink neat.
Yep.
Okay, Josh, you ready for the next one?
Yeah, I'm getting a little short on my drink though. I'm gonna make a drink while you talk.
Pour them up. We have. This has become. I never knew this bar type existed. Never knew. Okay. We open for lunch at 11 at Commonwealth most days, except Monday. Monday we open only for dinner service. I never knew that this bar type existed until the stay-at-home moms with their kids in a stroller group bar type.
Ooh.
And you would think, oh, they're here for lunch. They're going to have a salad. They're going to, all these things. No. Like they do know their limit for sure, because obviously they're traveling around with their little kiddos. But the stay-at-home mom group, you won't see them. They're not lone wolfers.
Okay.
They've made it a point to call their other mom groups in that same stage of life and meet at the bar. Now, they can't belly up to the bar because, it's not a great look for the guest or us to have a car seat on top of the bar.
Yeah. Or if they're already working on their second or third or fifth kid and they've got a big old pregnant belly,
right.
Just plop it up on top of the bar.
Nope. Usually it's low seating. Sometimes it's a high boy at the bar.
Water.
A lot of times it's outside. They like to sit outside and soak up the sunshine.
Okay.
But I think that I'm trying to think back when Christy, my wife, was pregnant. We've got 4 children. Or when Carrie was pregnant with year 3, like, I don't think we traveled to bars.
No.
Like with the kids. Like that was kind of, you felt like it was a little taboo.
Well, yeah. And you're like, my kid's an asshole. Because most of them are at most ages. And you're like, I don't want to be embarrassed.
No.
I'm just going to stay at home and they can smear mashed potatoes into the carpet like every other normal
dropping
kid.
Cheerios and freaking Binkies and all that. I'll never forget. We went to dinner. This was in Dallas. Christy and I went to dinner with Steve and Katie. Okay. Some of our favorite people.
Shout out Steve Britton.
Shout out Steve.
Love you, bro.
And they had, I think they just had the one kid at a time. Kid was still in diapers, sat and we were at a taqueria. So it wasn't like it was a fancy thing. We were still
Steve, for the viewers out there, Steve is one of the guys that, and everybody has a friend like this, but the F word to them is not a bad word. It's just a descriptive. It's an adjective. It's a verb sometimes. Yeah. It's a noun a lot of times. And it's just used in almost every sentence like it's just normal. And it is so entertaining to have a conversation.
We need to have Steve on this podcast.
Okay. This is your invitation.
Come on, Steve.
We'll get you on.
So we were at dinner at the taqueria and they had, I think we had 2 of our kids at that time. They had 1 kid, high chair, diapers, and kid blew ass out of the diaper, like diarrhea in the taqueria, which, probably goes hand in hand for most people, but not at the restaurant.
Not at the exact time.
Give food the time to work. But I remember it like it was yesterday because Steve just starts smelling and then looks at his wife and then they look at the kid and then they do this one, the little peek on the backside of the kid. And dude, it is ass blown diaper where it's dripping on the floor.
Wow.
Steve-O has to clean up his own kid's shit from the taqueria.
So which one took the kid to the bathroom?
Katie took to the bathroom.
And which one
Steve-O cleaned up
the crime scene?
Yep.
Okay.
Steve-O played forensic CSI and started dusting that place down. But I think since that moment, I was like, I'm never taking my kids to a bar. I didn't know that existed, and it wasn't a bar per se. But then to see at Commonwealth, there's a couple of groups of these stay-at-home moms, or maybe they just they're on maternity, or maybe they work remotely. It's one of my kind of favorite groups. And I'll usually end up, we'll send them an appetizer or something over there. Like, hey, the struggle is real for all of us. I appreciate that you're bringing your kids to a bar. Like, that's one of my favorite groups. I've got another one.
Okay.
This is my, outside of the pretentious douchebag, this is my least favorite person at our bar.
Okay.
I know the owner guy.
Oh my God.
I know the owner.
100%. Like this is, and it's a joke with all of our team members because we're in a smallish community, Central Texas. So almost everybody that comes in,
knows the owner.
Not, probably 30% of the people that come in, know the owner. And the people who actually are our good friends would never, ever say that or never make that an issue. And so you immediately know when somebody name drops, and that's one of our rules.
It's one of our rules.
House rules. We'll get into that at some point. But one of our house rules is, hey, don't name drop.
Name drop gets you nowhere. It will actually walk you out the door.
Put you further back in line. Because you're one of those people who want special treatment. Like when we go, we have friends that own all sorts of different businesses. So when you go to your friend's restaurant to eat, or when you go to your friend who's a CPA, or when you go to your friend who's got the auto detailing shop or whatever, you're not going there to get a great bargain and to get money off.
You're going to support your friends.
Damn right. So go support your friends and don't ask for discounts for everything. That doesn't help. And the special treatment, it is one of the number one hot red buttons that if you walk in and you start acting like a dick and start trying to name drop you or me, that's a great way to get your ass escorted out.
Very, very easily. Now, when we do it with our kitchen staff and I ask them to make something special, or, hey, I'm sorry, we need to refire something. And they're like, oh, you must know the owner. Like, that's funny as hell. That's funny as hell. But if you come in to our bar and you lead with, I know the owner. Well, if you say that, then you're not as close to us as you think you are. Because our friends, no, they obey the rules. They are there to support us. They're never going to ask for a discount, which makes me want to do special things for them.
Yeah, we give them discounts the majority of the time because we care about them and thanks for coming out. And it's the 7th time in 4 days we've seen you here. so thank you. It's like a frequent flyer punch card.
It really is. And those are the people that we go to other bars with. 100%. You know what I mean? Yes. There's also this guy is not to be confused with they think they own the place guy.
Which relates back to your pretentious douchebag.
And maybe those are just character traits of each other.
Hand in hand.
And it's now this new category is going to be called I want to punch them in the dick. Like that's their category.
This is the ridiculousness category.
They think they own the place. So, they reserved a table. And again, it's not that we're, this whole outdoor space and you can't move things around, but in the inside dining room, it's a nice place and we take reservations inside. So on a Friday or Saturday night, think they own the place guy, because we take reservations and it's busy on a Friday and Saturday night, and your group goes from 10 to 12. Well, we got to set another table. Well, don't move your own table. Let us serve you, number one, if the table is available. But this guy, think they own the place guy, just moves shit around wherever they want. And in large part, when asked, oh no, I know Josh or Jared.
Yeah.
Like they'll think this is fine.
You're like, oh, you know who doesn't think it's fine is the 4-top that's coming in 10 minutes. And that's the table that they've had reserved for 2 weeks. So
they thought enough ahead. Maybe this is their only night in the month to get out for date night.
They have planned ahead, unlike you, who's being an asshole. Get your ass back over to your seat. We'll take care of it. We don't have room for your extra people, or we can seat them over here, or we'll move people around. Like we will bend over backwards to make things work.
Yes.
But don't just try to do that on your own.
No. And very much, this is also the guy that'll probably snap at you or be like, hey, you. Like there is a type. The category is punch them in the dick when you see them type. You ready? And this one goes kind of with your all dayer.
Mm-hmm.
We have one of the things that our bar's a little bit different. We have 3 pickleball courts, big deck energy,
Big deck,
big giant deck,
biggest deck you've ever seen.
We keep the landscaping tight just so the deck looks bigger.
Yeah, but the deck's big in and of itself.
In and
Huge,
of itself,
giant.
It's also brown, but yes, big giant deck.
Brown.
And because we have pickleball, it's definitely not an elitist sport. More people should try it. It is a common people sport.
Oh,
right.
The best, like community and connection and like just having a great time. But there are those that take it a little too seriously.
There is the overly competitive pickleball.
I knew
guy
right where you were going.
Okay. Guy or girl. We have both of them.
We have
both genders.
Yes.
This one is not gender specific.
Yeah.
But you have the overly competitive, like I'm serious about pickleball.
Yeah.
Our place is pretty much a recreational facility.
Right.
It's entertainment. There's a lot of descriptors that you can put on it.
Yeah.
But you also know them because heaven forbid you ask them in the middle of a game if they need anything.
Yeah.
No, they're like so locked in. And a lot of times they're not the best pickleball players.
Yeah. They're not even that good.
No.
It does remind me of the who were the guys that you mentioned earlier that did the stereotypes?
Dude Perfect.
Yeah, Dude Perfect.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Dude Perfect because you could do a whole deal on pickleball types, pickleball people.
Dude Perfect. I know you're out there. I know you subscribe. I know we're future best friends. Please do a pickleball type video.
Yeah. We're like right up the road from y'all, by the way. So come on.
Might as well.
Commonwealth.
Yeah.
When they when you like interrupt their game and they're like, "God, I'm playing here, come on." And you're like, "Oh wow. Did you forget that you were at a effing restaurant and we're trying to sell like food and drinks as well?" Like, I'm glad you're so good at pickleball. It's very similar to people who are golfers who think that they are a way better golfer than they are. And listen, you and I have a rule. If you can't be good, be fast.
Yep.
You're not going to get 13 waggles over a club and then shank it out into the woods. Same deal with pickleball. Like, just have fun, be lighthearted. If the ball hit the line and you didn't think it was the right call, whatever. Who cares? Play the next point. There's a million points in pickleball.
I'll tell you what. I got this. You bring up golf. And it's not that we are professional golfers. We enjoy golf. But there was a time where we took it too seriously.
100%.
And we had a great friend, Philip Pyle. God bless you. I hope you're still alive. You were like 80 years old when we knew you in our late 20s.
No chance he's still alive. But if he is,
to you, Philip Pyle. Cheers.
Hey, shout out to Philip.
Shout out to Philip. But he told me, because I would be that guy, hit a bad shot, and I would throw my golf club, or I'd beat the shit out of my golf bag, like it was my golf bag's fault.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, "Listen, you are not good enough to be that mad. So enjoy your time, have a beer, whatever you need to do." Since that day, I was like, damn, he was right.
That's a really good point.
So and it's with everything, like pickleball now. Now I will use some foul language, but I use foul language in every instance of life.
It's not because we're mad at something. It's because we're talking shit to the other
people. Exactly.
The better you are than me, the more shit I'm going to talk to you to try to get you out of your
bingo. And I think that because we have the pickleball, you see that type, and we may have to have another pod just pickleball types, because there's a lot of those.
There are a ton.
There's the people. Well, back to the bougie ladies group. Yeah. The bougie pickleball ladies group. They're wearing the ALO, right? They have actually coordinated their outfit to match. Mm-hmm. And it's not because, they think that they're great, but it's because that's their group.
Right. They want to look good. They
look good, feel good, like play good.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. They will. This group usually doesn't drink before their game.
Right.
They usually do not. But they will drink often as soon as the game's over. Yeah. And unlike, I think, a lot of guys, this bougie ladies group is like, we're going to play for an hour. It could be like 11. They're like, we're good. Like, they can finish it at an hour. They don't need to play till the end. There's no competitive. They're competitive, but not to the point that like the end all be all is finishing game point. But as soon as the game is over, they'll go to the table under the umbrella, have a bucket with 2 bottles of Prosecco, right? Pinkies out. order a flatbread. Like I can tell you what their order is. And it's
some
not
of them
specific.
may do the salad, one of the salad options.
Yep. But it's at least 2 bottles of Prosecco because they'll play in this group of 6, right? And they'll kind of cycle through on one court. So 2 people will always get to hang around, have a glass of Prosecco, go back into the game. And I'm like, man, I am envious of that kind of group.
Yeah, they've got it figured out.
They have got it figured out, and they always make time for it. They're very intentional about playing together. Every week it means something. And they're women, so they gab and gab and gab. And that
was very sexist.
It's also very true. And they would tell you that's the reason, Josh, we've talked about this before too. There's a reason if 2 guys walk into a bar and sit down, they want to sit at the bar. They're okay being shoulder to shoulder, never looking each other in the eye and not saying a word. They're okay with that. They're also fine, like we're doing, just having a little bit of conversation. 2 women walk into a bar, and if they sit at the bar, they turn their chairs towards each other because women are face-to-face talkers. They want to know what's going on.
They want the body language, the eye contact. They want all the things.
Most of the time, they will sit at the high top table where they can sit and talk and
face each other.
Yeah. And it's amazing how some of these types kind of cross over into other types because that bougie ladies group, the all-dayer.
Yeah.
Listen, we're married to them.
Yeah.
Half of them.
Yeah.
And
we love them.
Very jealous of the time that they get to do that.
Yeah.
Usually, possibly.
You know why they do that though? Because they're not going to tell the husband, oh yeah, I'm going to a Commonwealth. We're going to sit and drink outside. We're going to have mimosas and Prosecco, and we're going to talk shit about everybody. They say, we're going to play pickleball.
Yeah.
Which is why they're totally fine. Like as long as they check the pickleball box.
They are smart.
They have categorized what they're doing as we're playing pickleball.
Yeah. Like I'm going to go get some exercise. This is,
it's my workout for the, the day or the week.
They have it figured out.
I'm a little jealous
because if, and this is where I am going to be sexist because I think we're held to a double standard.
Yeah.
I'll get in trouble for this later. But
they're not going to watch it. They won't watch this.
Don't worry. If we said, hey, I'm going to go play with Josh and some buddies. I'm going to go play pickleball or I'm going to go play golf. Pickleball. Yeah. I'm not going to play with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's, so you're just going to drink beer all day and get super drunk and I'm going to have to come pick you up. Well, I don't ask you that when you're going to go play pickleball.
I don't like
with your
the version of you that I get when you come home from playing golf. Okay. I don't like that version of you. You're like, oh, they just had a great time for 6 hours and 19 beers in. Okay.
Tell you what, we got to get the wives on the pod one time.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
Nope. To talk about, it's a great topic to talk about the versions of each other.
Yeah.
Right. Your favorite version, your least favorite version, the one that annoys the hell out of you. I have some more. Okay. I have some more bar types.
Are there more bar types?
I have more bar types.
This is the longest, I don't know,
tell me about it
ever.
Okay. You have, and this is who we are. It's also my favorite people to see there.
Okay.
You have the family drinkers. Okay. And it could be husband and his wife and their kids, because on the other side of the building, we have some turf, we have some cornhole, some things that, and I was talking to one of our friends who is a family bar type, and she was like, what's great about this is the kids can play, but the adults can still be adults, right? If you went to one of those trampoline places or the cheer gym or whatever, like you can't adult there.
No,
you
Chuck
can't.
E. Cheese.
Exactly. You can't do that. So that's, it is actually part of the attraction to our bar. And the reason we built it like that is because, listen, I got 4 kids, you got 3 kids together. If our 2 families sat and ate at a dinner table, we need 11 spots, right? Is that right, math?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's great and probably the most encouraging for me to see is the family bar type that is generational.
Yeah.
Like
that's pretty cool.
It's so cool because you have grandparents and then their kids, wives, husbands, and then those wives, husbands, kids. And so you've got 3 generations. And because there's things for the kids to do, the adults don't feel bad about talking to each other, right? Having a little bit of family time.
Yeah.
It's some of my absolute favorite because I think we built it that way for that reason, selfishly for us, because we knew how much time we'd have to dedicate to this whole thing. And like, if I'm going to see my wife and kids, they're going to have to come to the bar.
Yeah. Well, listen, if we were just looking for something to make money, we would definitely have not done a restaurant.
Don't do that. File that under top advice.
2024. So there's a lot of other things we could have done. We did do this project because we were creating something that we wanted. And so that's a really good point and a perspective is, create when you see a void in the market. And that's what we've tried to do with a lot of different ventures is you see a void in the market, you see something that's not there and you really want it. There's probably other people out there that also want it, but it's that entry level, it's that jumping off point. That's like, it's a lot of money. It's a big risk. But something that's a void in the market and you can get in for not a crazy ton of overhead, like give it a shot. You never know what's going to happen.
Why not?
Yeah. ¿Por qué no?
¿Por qué no?
As we learned in Mexico.
Why not? Now, man, belly up to a bar in Mexico.
That's a whole different vibe.
And that's a whole different pod.
Because you're normally in a swimsuit only, no shoes, no shirt a lot of times.
Just sitting in piss water and being fine with it. Be like, yes, I don't care. I do not care. But if there's a poolside bar in Mexico.
You've had enough drinks that you're just comfortable just taking a few steps back and peeing and then coming a few steps back.
Surely the chlorine kills that stuff. Surely it does because then you're right back at the bar ordering a frozen
everybody
drink.
Knows what you're doing. You just like periodically the person at the poolside bar just like floats off to float for a minute. Yeah. So you're not fooling anybody, Peter.
So we move from bar types to types of bars.
Types of bars.
Dude. And I'll tell you what, the poolside bar, Mexico Resort, file that under one of my favorite types of bars.
Well, it's just because there's so many like good memories and experiences that you have from conversations you've had or connections you've made with like people you care about. Like you are truly able to unplug and just relax. You don't have your phone.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do is anything that doesn't involve my phone. When I went with a good buddy of mine, he's got a boat down in Port O'Connor. This was, probably 8 months ago. And we went fishing and I knew we were going like 80 miles out. Cell phone wasn't going to work. So I put the cell phone in the glove box of the boat.
Yep.
Didn't think about it again, like all day. We're out there for like 10 hours. And I'm like, did I enjoy this because it was like you're fishing and, you're out in the ocean and it's awesome. Or did I enjoy it equally as much? Oh, you party fouled right there.
Damn it.
Yep.
That's my fault.
Did I enjoy it just as much because I just didn't have my damn phone? Like we are so tethered and we don't even realize it. And then when you get to experience that like momentary freedom, because I didn't get that to myself. I wasn't just like, I'm making the decision to put my phone down.
Right.
No, I was like, it literally won't work. So I might as well just put it in the glove box. And, if the boat goes down, they'll look for our bodies at some point.
I'll tell you, man, what a great point. There is a reason. There's actually a few. When you come into our bar, we're not a sports bar. We don't have any TVs.
Mm-hmm.
Up in the speakeasy for the members, if there's a big football game or something on, we'll pull a TV out of the closet and put it up for people to watch. But there's a reason. We want people to connect and have community and have some face-to-face time. Yeah. And this day and age, you can't.
Mm-mm.
You absolutely cannot because you're looking at your phone. I've seen the notifications come up just from text messages that we've got. So we've got work to do now because I think, and man, this is going to be a pod all on itself.
Yeah, is another whole pod.
When you go on vacation, I still check email just so I don't walk back 5 days later and come into an inbox of 500 emails. Yeah. Right. So I just swipe, delete what you can.
Yeah.
And
you can do a quick response every now and then, like no big deal. And the wife's like, what are you doing? You're supposed to not be working. And you're like, I'm not really working.
Mm-mm.
I'm not like locked in 100%. This is just like maintenance. This is just making my life easier when I get back to the office. I 100% agree with you.
And it is that same way of like, hey, we don't want TVs. Put your phones down. Although we have phone chargers at the bar. Because we know that you can't escape it.
Yeah. But also it allows people who are working or who are grabbing a quick lunch or who are having a meeting to be able to plug in if they're a little low. We're thoughtful like that.
So, man, I'm trying to think of other things. And maybe that's the joy of pickleball or any athletic event. With golf, it's difficult.
You're still checking your phone every time your butt hits that cart seat. You get in the cart, you grab your phone real quick just to make sure there was nothing important that came up or whatever. When's the last time that for like more than an hour, you put your phone somewhere intentionally and didn't pay attention to it at all. Didn't care about it, didn't think about it, didn't look at it.
I'll tell you what, it is. Damn. I was going to say it's, you know what? The only time that it's not on my person is if I'm swimming or around a body of water.
Yeah.
So if it's a hot tub night, I'm like, hey, to whomever, if it's the wife and she's not here or whatever, hey, I'm hitting the hot tub.
The wife.
You're
going to hear about that.
Yeah, 100% I will. Glad it's not live.
Yeah. Oh,
but,
well, she's not going to watch this. We're like however many minutes in. There's no way she makes it this far.
But it has to be. Now, with the phones, it makes it so easy because you also put it on the turtle box. You're playing music, right?
Sure.
Like if it's on vacation or you're fishing or something like that. So
but you're playing your music and then you hear the notification that you got a message.
Yep.
Because your phone's hooked up to the turtle box.
Yeah.
And then you feel this pressure. It's like Pavlov's dog.
Did you automatically see the stress?
Yeah.
That goes into
you
my
feel
neck?
this pressure of like, oh, damn it. Is that important? Is it not? Is it like, or you hear like a call come in. You're like, is that a call like I should go get or should not go get? Like, why are we as a society so against just being like, hey,
putting it down?
Yeah. Listen, I'm not available right now.
Yep.
Why do we have to be so available to so many people all the damn time? It's exhausting and it's not healthy.
It's not.
But all of us do it.
But we do it today. We do it right now.
I'm a little worried right now that my phone has been face down for the last 40 minutes or whatever.
Right. It's like, and now, man, we need to bring back the good old days. Where
so define good old days.
So the good old days, boy, this is going to make the pod run long.
Yeah.
The good old days for me are when even if you have a job, that when you clock out, there's no way anybody can get a hold of you immediately.
Yeah.
Because I'm old enough that if you called me cell phones came out during college for me. So if I had
it was like what, 90 college was a long time for you.
94 through
That's a
2000.
Big span.
I'm not a doctor. 94 through 2000. But it was, and cell phones were just invented. There wasn't even any text on the first ones. But
yeah,
I guess early on, if I had a job, like the way to get a hold of me is call and leave a voicemail on an actual answering machine.
Yeah, it wasn't a voicemail. It was a message on an answering machine.
Right.
There was an actual box that had buttons.
A cassette tape.
Yeah. And you had to like change your message based off of what you're doing or where you were.
So to me, that's part of the good old days is being okay with people not being able to get a hold of me.
Yeah.
The right people.
I don't know who said it, but recently I was watching a podcast or listening to something, and he talked about never have we been more connected as a society and more disconnected as a people.
Yep.
I'm like, that is a really freaking good point. Like in just such a little snippet. Never have we ever been more connected, but yet more disconnected.
Yeah.
And it's because these damn phones.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what's interesting. When you work for somebody else, the communication is different, because if I got an email or a text from my boss, I felt like I had to respond literally right away. They could be emailing or texting. My phone was never on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah.
If they emailed at 11 o'clock, and then I was like, I have to reply. So he knows I'm a good worker.
Yeah. They know I'm like paying attention.
And then they never respond to my reply. Like you have this weird thing where it's, okay, I got to climb the ladder. I got to be that guy. Now, when you're owning the business, when you own a bar, they said, it's like my communication is shit, something's on fire.
Yeah.
Like literally something is on fire. The power is off, or the dishwasher broke.
Yeah.
Or
you don't have the luxury of ignoring messages or calls because you feel like it could actually be something really important.
That's exactly it. And more connected, less connected, everything is low jacked. You have Life 360 on.
Yeah.
My wife can tell you where all four of our kids, and I've got one in college, where all four of them are within 20 feet of the actual place. That's a conversation
for a whole nother pod. If they had low jack on our phones when we were in college, that's a problem.
And we went to a Baptist college. Like
allegedly.
The trouble we got in, relative to the things you see on TV shows and movies and all that kind of thing.
That's true.
It's pretty light, but still, I didn't want people knowing my shit.
No.
You know what I mean?
Definitely not my parents to be able to log in and see where I was at any given time.
No.
You got to have some rules, some ground rules around the use of Life 360 once your kid's in college. You have to.
I do. I never check I never check.
Oh, so who in your family checks all the time and pays attention?
I know
to
you're
that?
just trying to egg me on.
I don't know.
But my wife is a 6.
Oh,
yeah. And
Enneagram 6.
Enneagram 6. She likes to know where people and things are all the time.
Dude, Enneagram talk is another podcast topic
we got to
get into.
Yeah.
I wish we're going to have to watch this back and write down all the shit that we're talking about that are good topics.
Great topics. We're going to have crazy as my color Enneagram
We're going to have
talk.
106 episodes in like 2 weeks. So keep bringing up good topics.
Get ready. Also, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Hello, the greatest new pod out there.
Oh yeah.
It's incredibly, we are incredibly connected. I think part of Commonwealth for us was a way to get unconnected, to be with your friends, to be with your family. It was the sexy part of owning a bar. Not that they said, that we said.
Yeah.
It was the sexy part of, because we're trying to provide for the community a space, a place where you can belong. It can be your first time or your 20th time. You can be a lone wolf. You could be a bougie girls group. You could be the stroller moms that come in.
Yeah.
You could be the pretentious douchebag, and there's still a place, right? Maybe not for long, all you pretentious douchebags out there.
Yeah.
But part of, I think, the reason that we did this whole project that is Commonwealth is so we could have a place for people to disconnect with everything else going on, and connect with those that are closest to them,
each other,
right? Still doesn't happen because everybody's on their phone.
Well, it's interesting because if you're a bar owner out there, you're going to appreciate this, or restaurant owner or whatever. It's like we have created something that we wanted desperately,
of course,
but that we don't necessarily get to enjoy the way that everybody else gets to enjoy it. So we saw a void. We created this thing that kind of fills that void for people, creates community and connection, great craft cocktails, incredible food, social aspect of it, the entertainment, the pickleball aspect of it, and just such a cool vibe that everybody else gets to enjoy. But you, as the bar owner, as the restaurant owner, can't just go sit down and enjoy.
No.
You're constantly worried about the table over there that their drink's been empty for a little bit, or why did that food get sent back, or why is that person doing this, or this table didn't get bussed quick enough, or oh my God, somebody fell outside and I got to rush out and attend to that. Like, you can never really put your phone down.
Yeah.
When you're the bar owner or the restaurant owner.
Dude, has owning a bar ruined other bars for you?
I don't know, ruined is the right word. I definitely pay way more attention and empathize way more.
It's at least changed the perspective, right?
I used to feel like I'd get frustrated if it's like, this isn't good, or this was what happened. But now I almost kind of empathize more. I'm almost more forgiving now because I've been through that side of it. And I also have learned we would always go and order whiskey sour first thing.
It's our true test of a bar.
So I think that other people might believe when we sit down that we are the pretentious douchebags, because I've learned. I'm like, hey, I want a whiskey sour, up, dry shake with an egg white, no ice.
Yep.
And they're like, who is this? Who is this asshole that just sat down and
told me my own drink recipe?
Told me how to do this deal. But you learn what you like, you learn what you don't like. And so many people, they don't even, not they don't appreciate or understand, because I think they do once they come to Commonwealth, but it's so hard to find a place that really appreciates a good, true craft cocktail.
Yep.
Everybody uses a term because it's easy. It's, it's a buzzword, craft cocktails, but very few places do them and do them well.
Yeah.
And then there's that other piece of they're basically what a wine sommelier is. They are a true, whatever you call, a true bartender that does the whole presentation. It takes them 20 minutes to make a drink because they're
doing the mixologist,
swirling,
which we
and
are
all that
not.
stuff. No. And so I really do think that we've hit a perfect little in between of we're really, really, really good craft cocktails, but it's not going to take you 25 minutes to get it from a mixologist. We've just got really good bartenders who are personal, who do a great job, who know their shit.
Using fresh ingredients. Right. That's the craft in it all. We're not using a sour mix and all that. I think owning a bar, ruined was the wrong word. But if one thing it's done for me is make me appreciate the industry, the people that are in the industry, it's made me appreciate them so much more. I'm less quick to, hey, listen, I'm pulling out of Chipotle. I find that my order's wrong. I may not be so quick to go berate the manager, right?
Yeah.
I'll just simply ask, hey, I asked for no cheese. Do you mind?
Don't talk to my wife about
no,
the Chipotle
not
manager.
at all. By the way, we all love
That's a sore
Chipotle.
subject.
But I think it has made me much more protective, not only of our people,
Yeah.
but when we go to other places and not getting the service that we think we should have, to be a little bit more empathetic,
Graceful, yeah.
have a little bit of grace. Like, you don't know what they're going through. You don't know how many people called out. You don't, right? You don't know that they don't have a dishwasher right now because it's hard to hire people. So you're right. Ruined is not the right word. It's made me appreciative of other bars. I am a little bit more, like I notice things more, things that
more observant.
How can we be more efficient? Like, could we improve? Is there something we can take from this experience? But then also, like, I pair my expectation with the place.
Yeah.
Right. I don't go to the taqueria, which is one of our favorite lunch spots, 3-beer lunch, taqueria number 3, Sol Day. Thank you. Shout out. But I don't go there expecting craft cocktails.
Right.
I would be severely disappointed.
You're not going to order a craft cocktail at Taqueria Sol Day number 3.
I will drink my Dos Equis Stressed in a big glass.
We're going to have Spanish. We'll have a great conversation.
Great food.
In Spanglish, broken English and Spanish. It's amazing. It's
and we're in and out.
Vibe.
We're in and out in an hour.
Yeah.
Like,
or 40 minutes.
Yeah. So I think that's part of it for these bar types that makes it kind of fun is, what is the expectation people have? If it's their first time, it's different than if it's their 20th time when they come in. And maybe some of their own types have changed through that. Like, you can be the lone wolf and it's okay. You can come in with your stroller. It's okay.
It's okay.
Judgment-free zone here. I know you need it, moms. I know you need that. It could be, wow, I need a place to be able to sit and chat because this is the only night out of this month that my kids don't have something going on, that we can have date night. Or listen, we can invite the whole family, all 3 generations, because we can push picnic tables together and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. I can't wait to be able to have, like, all of our kids are like of age, and maybe not like early 20s, but like, mid 20s, late 20s, whatever.
At least
maybe
off the payroll.
Maybe they're married, maybe they have families, but being able to then go and have drinks with everybody, make cocktails for everybody and experience that. Because my parents, very religious, do not drink at all.
And that's also okay.
Which made it extremely appealing to me when I was in high school. But they don't drink at all. So I've never been able to, like, just sit and have a beer with my dad. Like, this doesn't exist.
Yeah.
At
least you had a dad.
Have a dad. Yeah.
I beat you, bro.
You're having a drink with your dad right now.
Yeah, I am.
Nobody there.
What's up, bio dad?
Why'd you look down?
Yeah, there's no doubt he's burning in hell.
Oh,
there's no chance.
Okay, we're gonna cut this whole segment out.
Nope, that's staying in.
But that is an experience I'm looking forward to. As like, hey, we're gonna generationally just enjoy and have fun together, and it's a really cool experience that I hope to have one day.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you, and it's the experience we want people ultimately to have at our bar or any project that we do, no matter which business kind of profile that it might be, whether it's title or counseling, the bar, anything in the future. Like, you want people to feel comfortable. You want people to, that family is just a cliche. Like, you're one of our family. We don't tell our people that because they're not.
Right.
They're not. We're going to be honest with you. Now, we want to care for you in a way the industry has never.
Yeah. Now we're a team.
We're
you're
a team,
teammate.
exactly.
We're in this together.
But when you do it with family, and that's part of our bar and just the genesis of that story, go watch episode 1. But it's part of it that is so attractive because so many of our family are enjoying it, that work there, that are in our immediate family. But then my cousin who comes up from Gerald, who's a member now, your mom and dad having brunch at least every other Sunday, if not every Sunday. Your sister coming down from Dallas, like that's just super, super cool. And we hope that's kind of reflected in the type of bar owner, which could be a whole nother talk.
Yeah.
Because I don't know a lot of the other owners. That's part of the reason for this pod. We want to travel to bars and get to know the story of these people and what their bar type is, what their people type are. What kind of owner are you?
Yeah.
Am I doing this shit wrong?
Yeah. What's
I don't know.
important to you? What's important to your team? What lessons have you learned? And what was your vision originally? And what did it kind of morph into? Because whether you like it or not, like you aren't in control of what your place becomes a lot of times. It's like the market's going to tell you what they want and what they need, and you can either be that or you cannot.
And I think we can all agree that, well, you and I can agree that what we envisioned in starting this place, I'm not going to say it's completely different, but it's not everything we thought.
No.
And you'll hear more about that in future pods. It's definitely not everything we thought it was. And in a lot of places, it is completely different.
Yeah.
And I think, Mike Tyson, the great theologian, said it best. Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, hey, whatever bar type you are, anyone is welcome at Commonwealth. We know we're not for everyone, and that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. But Josh, we're going to end it like we always start it from the very beginning. Looks like it's time for us to go visit another bar. I've got the rest of the day off.
All right. Sweet. Let's go do it. All right.
Cheers.
Hey, it's always for the good of the people.
Good of the people.